Hey guys, Only Gamer here, back in another video, and today we've got another installment of games recently brought online. Yes, I'm gonna change, at least for the time being. I'm thinking of changing the schedule for these series. Instead of doing it every 2 months, I'm gonna try and do it every single month. But the only problem with doing that is that, and you'll see with this episode, not every month is gonna be as crazy as the last episode. Because if you saw the last episode, I brought a shit ton of stuff in January. Like, it's so much amazing and crazy expensive stuff as well. And not every episode is going to be like that. There's going to be some episodes of this series where I only show maybe about 7 or 8 games. But we definitely have quality over quantity this time around. So yeah, this is everything I picked up in the month of February 2025. So we've only got about 7 games, I think. Plus I also bought a new handheld system as well to add to my handheld collection. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to showing you guys that at the end. Now I'm going to start things off with a game that was supposed to be in the last episode, but I completely forgot to even show it off. When I post a picture on my threads of, all the games I picked up in January, and this was in there, a lot of people questioned, like, why wasn't that in the video? And it was just because I forgot. It was simple as that. I just completely forgot to include it. Ironically, it was in the pile. It was with the other games that I showed in that video, but I just completely forgot to talk about it. And that game is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the Nokia N-Gage. So I actually bought this in January, but like I said, this was supposed to be in the last episode, but I completely forgot to show it, so now I'm showing it now. Yeah, so as some of you know from my recent video, I finally completed my Tony Hawk full set, and this was the last game that I needed to complete that set. It's not particularly rare or expensive or anything. You can find it pretty easily on eBay, and I think I got this for I got a pretty good deal on it actually. I forgot the original price that the seller originally wanted for it. I think it was probably like $14.99 or something, but I was able to send him an offer, and I got this for as low as $8.99, which is pretty good. And yeah, it's in really good condition. Of course, I don't actually own a Nokia N-Gage. This was solely bought just for Tony Hawk full set. But it's really cool to own. The N-Gage boxes are really interesting actually. They're like half the size of a DVD case. Pretty much, like, they're quite wide cases, and and it is fully complete. Got the manual, even got the little Nokia booklet right there, and there's of course the actual game, which is basically just an SD card, pretty much. And it even comes with the case as well. I believe every Nokia N-Gage game came with a case, a carrying case where you could store like 4 games. So yeah, and it actually says Nokia N-Gage on it. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I believe this is something that every game came with, and of course there's a big space to put it in. And yeah, and like I said, this was the last game I needed to complete my full set. So yeah, and I'm just happy that it's finally done after about 2 and a bit years of pursuing it. The Tony Hawk full set is finally done. Of course, as some of you may know, there is going to be a new Tony Hawk game getting announced very soon on the 4th of March. You best believe I'm going to be doing like a trailer reaction for that. So yeah, so obviously that one I'll have to get when that releases, and if the game's good, I'll definitely buy every version of it. But for now, my full set of Tony Hawk games is finally complete, so I'm really happy about that. Alright, now for the games I actually brought in February. Well, technically speaking, I think this next one here I brought at the end of March, but it didn't turn up until, I think, about the 8th or so. But yeah, this was a game I got off Amazon actually. I very rarely buy stuff off Amazon. And this was a very expensive game. It cost me £70. It's not even a new release actually. It's quite an old release. But the reason why it's so expensive is because it's a old release from limited run, and limited run stuff, as soon as it becomes out of print, the prices tend to just like jump up insanely. Once you can't buy anymore, because obviously limited run limit their games to a few thousand copies. Yeah, and that game is Freedom Planet for the Nintendo Switch. I actually recently did an unboxing of this up on the channel. But yeah, so I brought this off Amazon for £70, which I really didn't want to pay that much. I wanted a physical copy of this game so badly because, well, it's a fantastic game. I absolutely love it. I've been playing it a crap ton as of recently. I actually completed the game twice so far. I've beaten the game in both adventure mode and classic mode. So far only as Lilac. I'm still getting through the other characters. But I just absolutely fucking love this game. I had it on the Switch originally. I got it digitally for about £3 something when it was on sale over a year ago. And I bought the game again digitally on PS4 at the end of last year. But I really wanted a physical copy of it. But annoyingly, the only way to get it physically is to get the limited run release. That was the only physical release that they did. And because this release is from like 2019, I think, yeah, it's quite expensive to get nowadays. And so I had to spend 70 quid for it, which I really, really didn't want to do, but I just really want a physical copy. And I had no other choice. I had to look on eBay as well for copies, and they're all going for about £70 each. And a lot of them are from America, so plus shipping is going to cost even more. So it would have cost a lot no matter where I got it from, but yeah, I'm just happy to finally have it. And of course, it's complete. I mean, it was brand new and sealed when I got it. The instruction manual there and stuff. And yeah, Freedom Planet 2 is going to have a physical release as well. I actually pre-ordered that. And with Freedom Planet 2 specifically, the reason why I pre-ordered that, because I know for a fact as soon as that game releases and they stop making copies of it, yeah, the price is definitely going to double. It's definitely going to get a lot more expensive over time. So I figured that I would pre-order it now. It cost me about £47, I think, to get it from Limited Run. Again, which is quite a lot considering like you can get the digital game for, I think it's on sale now for like £12 or something. And I have the game digitally on my PS4 already. But yeah, I just know that it's only going to get more expensive over time. So I'm just like, I might as well get it now, because I'm not going to get it any cheaper. Yeah, man, Freedom Planet, I absolutely love this game. This has actually become one of my new favorite games of all time. Freedom Planet 2 is really good as well, but the first one, I've been playing this a lot on both PS4 and Switch. And yeah, it's a fantastic game. If you love 2D Sonic, then you'll definitely like this, because it's very much inspired by classic 2D Sonic. In fact, originally this was actually a Sonic fan game at one point. That ultimately became its own thing. And yeah, it's such a good game, man. All right, next we have a PS2 game. This is one that I've been curious about getting for quite a few years now, actually. It's a game I'm surprised I didn't already own by now. But I think the main reason why it took me so long to get this was because I know that if I start going down this route of collecting these games, yeah, I'm going to end up going crazy and just getting like the full set pretty much. Yeah, and that is Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends. So this game is basically an expansion pack to Dynasty Warriors 3, which I have the original game right here. It's my favorite Dynasty Warriors. I absolutely love this game. And I've also got it for the original Xbox as well. And the Dynasty Warriors series is known for having like a lot of spin-off games, and Extreme Legends was one of the ones that they had back in the day. I think they made an Extreme Legends for every Dynasty Warriors from 3 up to 8. 9 didn't get one. But yeah, and of course there's also like the Empires spin-off games as well, which is more like a tactical base. Dynasty Warriors 4 up till 9 had Empires game. And yeah, so it's like you've got the main like numbered Dynasty Warriors games. You've got like 1 through 9, and also the new one that just came out, Origins. And then you've got the Extreme Legends games and the Empires games. And for the longest time, as much as I love Dynasty Warriors, I have avoided the other spin-offs because there's just so many of them. I know for a fact if I end up buying one, I'm more likely going to end up getting the others. But 3 Extreme Legends, I wanted specifically because, well, it's the expansion to my favorite Dynasty Warriors 3, which is one of my favorite games on the PS2, period. So yeah, so I was curious to check this out. Plus, I never owned any of the Extreme Legends games. At least for Empires, I have one. You probably can't see it, but I have 5 Empires for the Xbox 60. So I figured that I might as well at least have 1 Extreme Legends as well. And yeah, got that complete. I think this cost me about £8 something. But basically, it just adds new content to the original Dynasty Warriors 3. You can also actually take the original Dynasty Warriors 3 disc and load that up into your PS2. And I think you can like add content to that or just straight up play the original game. It also says as well on the back that save data between this and the original game is also supported. So yeah, so I think it just adds like new characters and just new weapons and stuff. So yeah, just an expansion pack pretty much. I wouldn't mind going for a full set of these, but only for the PS2 though. If I'm going to get like all the Extreme Legends and Empires, Dynasty Warriors games, it's only going to be just for one platform. And considering the PS2 era games are my favourite in the whole series, I'm not going to pursue it anytime soon, but maybe. it would be cool to own all the Dynasty Warriors games, at least on one system. Alright, then we have a few games here for the Nintendo 64, which is the system that I'm most actively collecting for at the moment, because I finally got one in December, and ever since I've just been buying a whole bunch for it. Really enjoying collecting for the system so far. And yeah, and there's still a ton more games I really want to get. But yeah, I only ended up getting 3 games this month. And this first one here is actually a import game, and that's Puyo Puyo Sun 64. So yeah, this is a Japanese only Nintendo 64 game. And yeah, and it's a Puyo Puyo game. I bought this for a couple different reasons actually. For one, I wanted to test out a Japanese game on the N64 Passport Plus, cartridge that I have. Because I have a few American games so far. I mean, obviously I've got the American version of Pro Skater 1. I've got Pro Skater 3, which only came out in America. And I've got Spider-Man, which only came out in America. And yeah, and I wanted to try out a Japanese game as well. And I saw this. It was funny because I literally I was just searching up N64 just on eBay, just N64 games, whatever it was. And I saw it through lowest price, and I saw this there. I think this only cost me about £8, I think. And usually copies of this go for a little bit more than that. And yes, it was cheap, so I figured why not? I really enjoyed the Puyo Puyo games. And yeah, and I was just curious about this one. I've heard a lot of good things about this one, Puyo Puyo Sun. One thing that's quite funny about the Japanese N64 games is that on the back, it actually refers to itself as a cassette. It says there Nintendo 64 cassette, even though this clearly isn't a cassette, I don't know, I just find that funny. And of course, all the backs in Japanese. But yeah, but it works perfectly fine on the Passport device, which allows you to play import games on your N64. The contacts might need a little bit cleaning, actually. But yeah, but it does work perfectly fine. I've tested it. But yeah, just a neat thing to have, another import game for the N64 and another game to add to the collection. Next, this was a game that I had to get for the N64. Of course, this is one of the essentials that you have to have for the system. Doom 64. Of course, this game has since been re-released. Obviously, Night Dive did a remaster of it on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch and stuff. But I knew that I had to have the original N64 release. Of course, Doom is one of my favourite games of all time. I absolutely love classic Doom. This game's quite interesting for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people, for a long time, thought this was just an N64 port of the original Doom. It actually isn't. It's actually its own completely separate game from the original Doom. I mean, it still borrows elements from the original Doom, and it reuses the same sound effects and music from the PS1 port. But the actual game is completely different. It is its own Doom game. Yeah, I think this cost me about £21, actually. This is a fairly pricey game, even to get loose. But I was able to get it for somewhat of a good deal. But yeah, this was obviously just one of the essentials I needed for the N64. I do also really want to get Quake and Quake 2 for the N64 as well, which those games are fairly cheap to get loose. I definitely want to grab those. But yeah, what can I say really? Doom 64, pretty good game. Not as good as the original Dooms in my opinion, but still, if you're a Doom fan, definitely worth checking out. And next here we have an absolute classic for the N64. This was quite a pricey game, but this was one that, again, another essential for the system that you just have to have, and that is the original Super Smash Bros. Yep, the very first Smash game. And this one is quite pricey nowadays. You're looking about easily, on CEX, £40 for just the loose cart. You can get the Japanese version for a lot cheaper. And that also goes for Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64 and stuff. But I really want the European version. This one I was able to get for a fairly good deal. I got this for about £31. So yeah, so nearly about £10 cheaper than at CEX. For some reason as well, I don't know if it's because there's extra chips in here or something, but this cartridge feels significantly heavier than a normal N64 cart. I don't know why that is. Again, there's probably some more chips in here, but yeah, that's just something that I noticed immediately, after I got this in the post and I took it out. Is that, yeah, I just noticed that this feels a lot heavier than usual. But yeah, just what can I say really? The original Super Smash Bros. I'm definitely going to try and get a lot more of the first party games for the N64, but a lot of them are really expensive. I really, really want to get Mario Kart 64, but that game's 30 quid loose. I'm just trying to find a copy at the best deal possible, But yeah, but Super Smash Bros. Really, really, really happy to have this. So that's all the games I brought, but then we're not done yet because I also brought a handheld system. So I think I mentioned on the channel before, but I currently own, I'm looking at my collection right now, I currently own almost every Nintendo Game Boy that was released, except for 2 of them. I was missing 2 models, and this was one of the ones I was missing for a very, very long time. I'm really, really happy to finally have one of these. I've wanted one of these for literally like well over a decade at this point, and I was able to get it for a really good deal. And yeah, and I'm happy to say that I finally own a Game Boy Micro. So yeah, so this was the final Game Boy that Nintendo ever released. Yeah, and definitely like their smallest as well. This thing is really tiny. These micros are definitely a lot smaller in person than they are in like photos and stuff. So yeah, it's a very, very small device, but yeah, Game Boy Micro. This and the Japanese exclusive Game Boy Light were the only 2 Game Boy models I was missing. Game Boy Micros are quite hard to come across and also quite expensive. I think a loose one of these, at least the silver one I have here, goes for about £125 at CEX. I got mine for 77 on eBay. So it still costs quite a bit, but I think I got a pretty good deal on it because these usually do go for around £120 to £130 mark for just the normal ones. Of course, if you're talking about like the special edition like Famicom one and stuff, they could be a lot more. As you can see, the condition of it is actually pretty good, like all things considered. There's like no visible like scratches on it or anything. You know, I mean, it works perfectly fine. As you can see, you know, you've got the buttons that light up, which is really cool. Really happy to finally have one of these. And it also came as well, very importantly, it came with a charger, which is very, very important if you're going to get a Game Boy Micro. The Micros have a very specific charger that only works on just the Micro, doesn't work on anything else. Very happy to finally have one of these. Like I said, I wanted a Game Boy Micro for literally well over a decade at this point. It's just the Japanese only Game Boy Light, and then I've got every single model of the Game Boy. I'm also thinking of maybe collecting all the DSs as well, but I want to focus on at least getting like the Game Boy set complete. In fact, I'm going to try and make it a goal of mine to obtain a Game Boy Light before the end of the year. I've looked on eBay and they are very expensive, but I found a few for about as low as £140, which I think is a decent-ish price for Game Boy Light. Because it only came out in Japan as well, a lot of the listings are like only in Japan. But I found a few like UK listings, so I'll definitely buy one, but it'll have to be like, I'll have to like save up for quite a bit to actually like pull the trigger and get one, because it's going to be very expensive. Yeah, but I'm going to try and obtain a Game Boy Light before the end of this year, if I can. But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is it. Like I said, not really much, but you know, definitely quality over quantity. And yeah, and just really happy, especially owning that Game Boy Micro finally. So yeah, so that's basically everything I picked up in February. Probably won't buy a whole lot of stuff anytime soon because I kind of want to reserve my money for now because I want to get a Switch 2 when that comes out. I probably won't get one day one, but I do really want to get a Switch 2. And like I mentioned, I also do want to get a Game Boy Light as well. So that I probably won't be buying a whole lot of stuff for the time being. I'm going to try and save as much money as I can. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video anyway. Let me know down in the comments what you picked up last month. And yeah, so with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and peace. I shall see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care now.